good, you guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and welcome to another installment of In Case You Didn't Know. So today we're going to be talking about game optimization, not in the sense of how was the game ported or optimized to make use of hardware, but more in the sense of how your settings are changed around to favor the type of experience you would like to get out of that game. So obviously this is going to pertain more to lower mid-range systems and in the current games. But it can also take apart in older systems, very low end systems, in older games, and I guess even in some newer games, depending on the game, obviously, if it can even play it. So you always want to keep a stable frame rate, and of course, at the same time, you always want a good visual experience. That is why we're always, upgrading to, for say, $700 graphics cards, $300 processors. We're always trying to get the best that we can get, and if we aren't upgrading due to either, you're fine with what you have, or you don't have necessarily the resources or money to get your hands on those higher end hardware, you can play with the settings to kind of make your experience, once again, favor the type of stuff you want. So there's two things you can either go for the most part. You're either going to have, I guess we'll say three. You can either have a higher frame rate, which is, the smoother, higher FPS, especially if you have the higher refresh rate monitors, or you can go for something like a higher detail. You want the game to look prettier, which is usually what I go for in single player games. I usually go for the higher detail, or you can go with the mixture of the two, which takes a little bit more tweaking and a little bit more time to kind of get it exactly where you want it, but it pays off very well too. I also use that method as well. It just, like I said, depends on the games, but chances are you won't see me turning down a lot of settings to get higher frame rates. You know what I mean? I can play a game under the refresh rate of my monitor, and my refresh rate is set at 95 hertz. So it's okay if I'm playing at 70, 60, 80s. If I can turn the settings up, that's fine with me. Though I don't like playing under 60, as with most PC gamers wouldn't. So the two games we're going to be taking a look at is Ark Survival Evolved and GTA 5. Now I chose those two games because they are demanding-ish, and there are newer titles out that people are kind of digging right now. GTA definitely likes to stress my GPU out, as well as Ark. And they both have a large amount of settings that you can play around with to kind of tweak the frame rate. Though I will say this, GTA, there's only really like 3 or 4 settings in there that make a big impact on your overall frame rate. As far as visual details go, they make a big impact on that. A lot of them do. But there's only a few in there that I've noticed. I could, turn them all to very high or very low, and the only thing that changes is how things look. The frame rate stays fairly stable either way. But keep in mind, I will be running action recorder for the gameplay, and that can tweak around with experience and frame rate. Even on higher end systems, though, it becomes more minimal with the higher end of the system, obviously. So I like Milris action recorder. It's very low resource hungry, and it records everything I need, has all the settings. So the two main settings I want to take a look at, as far as how they overall mess with your system, or overall graphic performance or FPS performance, is going to be anti-aliasing and texture resolution. Now those two settings are basically your main settings that are either going to make your GPU overwork or make your GPU underwork. And granted, there are a lot of other things like ambient occlusion. Though ambient occlusion over the past few years has gotten a lot easier to run, there are still games that have, use up way more resources than it needs to run stuff like that. And but the reason I chose anti-aliasing, getting a little off topic, and texture resolution is because those two settings are pretty much found in any game that you would play that you can mess with the settings in, which is pretty much every PC game out there, because we like tweaking settings. So those two settings have, I would say, across the whole board of all the games and every game you play, those two settings will have the biggest impact on your frame rate. Now, overall, there's other things like ground clutter. Like I said, for instance, ground clutter on Ark basically determines how much grass is on the floor, and turning the grass quality on high on GTA makes the grass look better, and puts more of the swaying blades on the floor, which definitely decrease your frame rate. Those are something that can have an impact as well, but usually it's only when you're around large amounts of grass, you know what I mean? So Like I said, there's other settings, but we're gonna concentrate on these two for right now because they can be found in almost every single one of the games. Though I will go through the gameplay and mess with all of those settings. So when you're looking at your settings, the first thing you want to decide before you start touching knobs and stuff like that is what type of experience are you looking to get. Do you want the smoother, higher FPS, higher than 60 because you have a 144 hertz monitor? Maybe you need it because you're in competition gaming. Or are you like me when you play Tomb Raider or Crisis 3 and you just want the game to look really good regardless if you're dripping to 50 frames per second every now and then? That's the main decision you need to make. You can always go in the middle, which is basically frame rate, keeping a nice stable frame rate, as well as keeping your details as high as you can go, which is one of the main things I would suggest. Say if you're just playing on a standard 60 hertz monitor and an R9 270X, you will run into a lot of system tweaking because that graphics card is enough to pull high graphics and very high settings and stuff, but it has trouble keeping 60 FPS in most of the games running those settings. So you would need to sit there and tweak around what can I run at very high, what can I run at high, what can I run at medium to keep your 60 FPS. Unless, like I said, you have the 144 hertz monitor, then you're probably just going to put everything to low and make sure you get as many frames as possible. So obviously some systems out there can handle this type of stuff easily. If you're running multiple 980s or 980 Ti's on a 1080p monitor, you literally can max any game out and not even worry about your frame rate. Sorry, hit the microphone. And not even worry about your frame rate really ever. Even a single 980 Ti on a 1080p monitor can get pretty overkill in a lot of games. So, those guys aside, because not everyone has the money to do that stuff, or has the, I don't know how to say it, not as enthusiastic of PC parts, I guess, which is kind of makes me die a little bit inside. But not everyone cares to upgrade their computer either. They're happy with what they have, and they'll tweak settings if they want. So for now, we'll hop into some of the gameplay, and we'll take a look. I'll throw the action recorder up, and we'll start messing with some settings. Alrighty, so now we're in GTA, and as we can see, my frame rate's at about 120, and that's because we're in the garage. That'll definitely, unless Lester needs to leave me alone, that's because we're in the garage. As soon as we leave the garage, it'll change, but before we leave, because there might be people out there waiting to kill me, we'll go ahead and look at my settings right now. So as you can see, I keep MSAA off because it's very taxing. But here's your texture quality, your texture detail, texture resolution, whatever they might call it depending on the game. And as we can see, everything else is, as high as it'll let me put it, because $700 graphics card should be able to do that. Alright, so let's go outside where my frame rate shouldn't be anywhere near as good. So, hey, there's a guy right there. What do you know? That didn't take long. So, and Lester just won't leave me alone. So this is what I mean. I'm playing underneath my refresh rate right now. My refresh rate is at 95. And one thing I found in this game, we're getting dips down to 50s, which is okay with me because I like the game to look pretty. But one of the things I found in this game, and this asshole just cuts me off, is that it doesn't like being around grass. So we're going to go out to the grass, and that's where I get the most frame dips. I mean, sometimes the dips will even be like super bad to where you can even notice it. So we're gonna go drive down there right now before I start tweaking settings, and show you guys about my little dip session over here. I'm just gonna hit this jump, just go straight up. Let's do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, flying around. Here we go. Alright, am I gonna land? Okay. And this is the best part about GTA. When you land upside down and you slowly slide. There we go. So I'm down to 54 so far, lowest dip, and I'm stuck in a crater. Okay, here we go. Gotta love that car turning around and shit. I can't remember exactly where it is, but there's one part that it's like one little place that drops my GPU to like 50 or 40 FPS. But I don't know where it's at, and I don't feel like finding it. But as you can see, we're not in the 70s anymore. We're not in the 80s. We're staying at that 60 FPS, and that's because, as you can see, the grass is turned up. You see how it's all fuzzy. You turn that down to low, and the grass won't be fuzzy anymore. So this is what I'm talking about. You can get some frame dips, and basically, when you do your setting tweakings, you're going to want to find the place that makes your GPU dip the lowest, which I found to be these grassy areas. See, I'm down to 49 right now. Only the grassy areas do this though. So I found that these grassy areas really like to dip my settings down, so this is where I go to test. So we can go into my settings right now, and I know that GTA likes to turn things down, or likes to restart the game when you tweak certain settings, so hopefully we won't run into that too much. But we'll turn MSAA on ×2 just to show you guys how big of a difference it can make. And yes, we'll keep that setting. And as you can see, we have dropped like a whole 10-20 frames just by turning MSAA to ×2, which is I mean, still playable, but yeah, that's definitely a big drop. And that's not even the reflection quality MSAA, that's just normal MSAA. So we'll go hop in here, and not the advanced graphics. I don't really mess with the advanced graphics. I have one time to see what they do. So we'll turn the MSAA to ×4, and we'll go to reflection MSAA and turn it to ×2, just to show you guys how low we can really dip. So as you can see, it is at 29 frames per second. We're playing at 30. We're playing at Xbox 360 frame rate right now. Obviously at way higher resolution, dipping down to the 20s. And that just shows you guys that MSAA can definitely be one of the most taxing things to run on your system. And GPU usage obviously is 100% right now. And we're at a memory usage, by the way, get this, at 4.1 gigabytes. So we're using over 4 gigs of VRAM right now, GPU memory, to run that. And that is why it's nice to have that 980 Ti, so I can go over that 4 gig cap. And so we'll go ahead and turn those back off, and we'll start messing with some other settings. So now we could I showed you guys how it looks when you go too high and you've gone too far. So the one that'll make the biggest difference obviously is going to be your texture quality as well as your MSAA. I believe if I turn texture quality down though, it's going to cause me to restart, so that's not something we're going to do right now. So we'll just start with one setting and we'll turn it to normal. And okay, that requires me to restart. So what doesn't require me to restart? We're going to find some settings here. We'll turn those off and see what my frame rate is now, which is back up to the 50s and 60s, which is where we want it. A little bit of 40s there, but like I said, in the grassy fields of Los Santos, the 40s be plentiful. So not the alcohol, the frame rate. So anyways, let's go ahead and mess around with some more settings here. Yeah, GTA was kind of a bad candidate because I have to restart the game every time, which can get very, very annoying. So we'll change these down because I don't think I need to restart to change these. We'll go ahead and just turn these all the way down and see if our frame rate changes, even though we're not necessarily in the populated area. But the distance scaling should definitely affect it. Hopefully, nope, didn't affect it. We're still at still the same. Maybe if I go in town, let's see. Oh, hey. Yeah, I'm a really good driver if you guys haven't noticed. So, nope, still seems the same. Doesn't really seem to do much. Like I said, there's a lot of settings in here that in GTA at least, that I can't really find ever doing anything. You know what I mean? So, let's try changing post FX to normal. I know that doesn't cause a restart. Okay. Well, I pushed the wrong button for my recording. I wanted to make sure it was still recording and I accidentally pushed the wrong button. So, ambient occlusion will change to normal. And, wait, hey, stay at normal. And we'll change tessellation to normal. And we'll drop our anisotropic filter. Now, this setting right here doesn't necessarily do a lot. It's easy to run at X16, but we're just going to drop it for the sake of dropping settings. We'll drop settings to soft. We'll drop grass quality. Can I change grass quality? No, grass quality wants me to restart. So these settings up here really want me to restart the game. So I'm not going to mess with them right at the moment. But everything else has been dropped, and as you can see, we were at 50 and now we're at 80s. And that's just from turning down like some anti-aliasing, some ambient occlusion, or not anti-aliasing, anisotropic filter, dropped it down to ×4, I think, and then dropping some of the other settings like ambient occlusion and post-processing and stuff like that. Now we're cruising in here, still dropping to the 50s. Like I said, because I have this high grass quality on, we're not going to see very much changes until I turn that grass quality down. So yeah, maybe we might have to do that, but in order to do that, I'd have to restart the game, which might end the recording, and then I'll have to come back and merge two videos together. So we'll end up doing that in a second here. I'm just seeing if maybe I can get into town and show you guys what the other settings have done before I do that. So we're on our way there. I'm driving as fast as I can, but as you can see, I'm a very skilled driver, and that's a fence. Okay. So we need to get away from the grassy hills of Los Santos because those are very GPU taxing. Hey, get away. So right now, I'm not even using 100% of my GPU anymore. We've dropped down to using only 68% of it. And we're at 90, 87, 97 frames per second. That's what I mean by lowering settings like that. Can definitely make your GPU work less. Even though the frame rate hasn't necessarily gone up too much, we're seeing a lot less usage. Okay, now it's starting to spike back up to 100. Nope, never mind. It dropped back down to 80% usage. So the GPU usage is just bumping around, but it's not hitting 99%. It's only staying at about 80%. And our frame rate's normal. It's fine. And Lester won't leave me alone. But as you can see, now we got like a very nice smooth gameplay without any dips whatsoever. And the game quality still looks pretty good. Even though I'm pretty sure you guys can't really tell the difference because it's a YouTube video. But I will render this at 1080p 60 FPS. That way you guys can get the best experience possible, even though it takes a lot longer to render it like that. But anyways, so we'll go ahead and mess with those other settings. We'll turn them all down. I'm going to turn them all down just to show you guys, and that I don't feel like restarting the game every time, just to turn one down. So we'll turn them all down. We'll go ahead and turn them all down to normal, like every single one, and see what our frame rate goes to then. Normal. We'll keep that at soft because I honestly don't want to see ugly shadows, and we'll keep anisotropic filter at X4 just because. So we're going to go ahead and apply those changes and restart the game, and obviously come back when it's done restarting. Alright, so we're back in my garage, and as you guys can see, we're hovering at around the 200 frame FPS, 150. So obviously our settings work, so we're going to go ahead and take a look. And yes, I am at 1440p and stuff like that, 95 hertz refresh rate monitor, but none of that's really the point of why we're here. We're not seeing what my system can get on frame rates. We're just looking at the general overall fluctuation in frame rate. Obviously it varies from system to system and setting to setting, and game to game, but regardless, we're just trying to show, I'm mostly going over this to show you guys on what differences you can get, and more or less how to optimize the settings for your system. So right now we have everything on normal and soft shadows because I'm not going to put them on sharp. Screw that. And we're going to go ahead and drive around and see what our frame rate is now. So there might be some screen tearing. You probably won't see it because the recorder is only going to take 60 of the 100 and something frames and not try to display them on the monitor. But honestly, it's actually 100 frames right now, 89. So we're going to go back to the grassy fields because now you can see the grass as it is without the higher texture resolution on it, which will basically make it look like flat, normal, plain, not fun, boring grass. And people drive like crazy in this town. Jesus. So we're on our way back there, and I'm just trying not to hit any cars. I don't want to ruin my new sexy looking whip here with my white underglow. Lester still will not leave. Oh my god, I'm gonna hit him. Whoa. Near miss 101. Oh, we're going this way. So as you can see, the grass looks nowhere near as textured. There's only like 5 bushes. So now we are actually getting more frames than in town by being out here. And that is because there's literally nothing out here anymore. And that just shows you how settings like that can make a huge difference. Now granted, you're not always around grass in this game, but when you keep in mind that when you are, say you're playing fine at 60 FPS in the town, the second you go out to the grassy plains, you might end up hitting some ridiculous frame spikes and frame dips. So yeah, now we're chilling at our 160, 150 range when we couldn't even get 70 out here. So yeah. And that's just to show you guys exactly how that works. Now I could do this and then turn VSync on and honestly never really have to dip below. So one thing with GTA is you're going to look at someone messaging me, and Warframe is so bad. I don't know what she means by that. Dips to 30 and I can't do shit. Well, she changed out her GPU to an older model GPU right now, so that'll happen when you play a crappy GPU. She went from using her R9 280 to using a 550 Ti, so she's experiencing the lag right now, or the poor system. She needs to optimize her settings, which I've been teaching her how to do as well. Anyways, so yeah, we can see now that the grassy plains that was the most taxing part in GTA for at least my system on high settings is now the easiest place to hang out on high setting or on normal settings. And honestly, the game still looks very well put together, very nice. I don't think I can leave it like this though, because you don't buy expensive hardware to play normal settings. That's just not how it works. But yeah, that's just a small kind of taste of what we can do in this. So now we'll go hop into Ark and take a look at how that game runs. Alrighty, so now we got this game loaded up, and we're in Ark Survival Evolved right now. So I just noticed in GTA it was refusing to pick up the frame counter in the last recording, and I didn't know it was not going to pick it up. But I'm not going to redo that whole session. But luckily for me, at least I called out what the frame rate was pretty frequently, so you guys will know that, you know, what it was at. And it picked it up fine in the first two, you know, recordings, but when I reset the game and started the recording again, it decided it didn't want to. So as we can see here, we're chilling at about 50 or 60 FPS with, you know, 80, 70. It's all over the place in this game at some points, and we just got a little bit of a skip and a dip there. But I am using an audio recorder and a you know, screen recorder at the same time, so I'm running kind of quite a bit of stuff right now. So either way though, our settings right now, I don't remember what I had them at. I think I had them all at medium. Now this game, I've noticed, loves to kill my frame rate, so we'll go ahead just for the sake of fun and put everything to epic, you know what I mean, and hit apply and watch, and you guys can see what happens. So let's go ahead and escape. So now we are chilling at a smooth 26 FPS, 23, 22, and we are just crushing it in this gameplay. This is making me dizzy. Though I will say everything looks very pretty. Ridiculous view distance here. So I know that this game just taxes the shit out of my GPU, and that's got to be the far rendering distance with the pretty graphics. Definitely likes to do that. Oh, there's a T-Rex. I've actually never seen a T-Rex. Hey. Granted, I only played this game for a few hours, but I've never seen one. Hi. Hi, T-Rexy. Okay, so back to what we were doing. Got a little distracted. So what we can do here, obviously, once again, we're at 1440p. It doesn't matter, and I'm not going to change that either. So let's go ahead and turn everything to very low and hit apply. So now that we're at very low, bam, it looks like crap. This is like pastel Play-Doh graphics going on here, and my frame rate doesn't seem to have changed much. Granted, this game is very new, and as far as optimization go, I haven't really noticed too much of it. So we'll go inside, and I think, oh yeah, it's because it always has anti-aliasing on Epic. I noticed, I forgot about that. So for some reason, this game always puts anti-aliasing on Epic, which is just super not cool with me because of that. And then as you can see, it took like a good, you know, 10 seconds before it actually made the frame difference and put it up to the hundreds. So this game is a little bit weird with that. I've noticed that, but I wanted to use it because it has a ton of settings in there. And right now we're running all low settings, obviously. There's probably some other settings in there that's keeping the frame rate from going too high. Nope, ground clutter is all the way down. So everything's on low. So let's go ahead and put it back to medium. And I found for me, turn my anti-aliasing on low, turn the post-processing to medium, turn my world title or my textures right here to high because I can handle it, and keep everything else on medium. And I found that this is a pretty good place for me to hang out at. And basically it makes everything look pretty, and something's still lowering my frame rate. I don't know. But it makes everything look pretty. We're hovering at around 40s inside the dense forest and stuff. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I know that this thing likes to turn the ground clutter a little too high. There's some other settings down here. Green space, ambient occlusion, distance. There's more ambient occlusion settings down here, of course. I'm trying to see, just kind of look around and get familiar with all of these. View distance, medium, terrain, medium. Everything's on medium like it should. Let's turn this to medium and see what happens. Alright, so now we have our texture detail set to medium, and that's what I'm saying, you don't see too much of a frame dip in this game. Sometimes it takes it to restart before it actually does it, and I don't feel like restarting it. But I mean, you could see the difference here. It's actually very playable. I've noticed that this game, even at, you know, the low 40s FPS, is still extremely playable, as far as how smooth it looks. And like I said, they might still need to work out some more optimization kinks for this game. I just shit myself apparently. It just said I defecated, so that's always nice. But we're still keeping a very stable frame rate at medium, and like one high setting, slowly, just so that we could keep the game looking pretty. So now we'll go to the options and we'll mess around with some other things. So I'm going to go full custom on this. We're going to turn everything to low, but we're going to turn the ground clutter up a little bit, the sky quality up just a, no, actually we'll leave those to low, but we are going to do this. We'll turn our anti-aliasing to low, and we're going to turn our view distance on super epic. And we're going to do that just so basically we can play pro status, where you want the max view distance, so you turn the settings on low. So as you can see, this pastel Play-Doh settings just ain't happening. Apparently I'm dying of thirst right now. I don't have anything to drink. I don't think I'm near a lake. I'll probably end up dying. Oh, there's a lake. Okay, let's go get some water. So, as you can see, we're chilling at about 100 FPS, 90 FPS with dips down like 60s and 80s. And those high fluctuations, like I said, might just be for the lack of optimization that the game still needs to have. So on low settings, you can easily play this game at my 95 hertz refresh rate and have max view distance on, so I can see very far away. I'm having so much trouble getting this water because I am just, my character's just dying right now. She's like moaning and stuff. And there we go. So now I'm not thirsty anymore. I'm tired. I just topped in the water. How am I hot? I don't get it. Okay, so come on. Learn to, oh my god, not you. Oh my god, help. 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 Oh, wow. Those two things killed me last time. I got really far, not really far in the game, but I was like level 8 and I had a bunch of stuff on me and I was super happy with what I was doing with my life. And 2 dragonflies, level 100, came out and killed me. They chased me for a good 5 minutes. Oh, major drop in frame rate there. Skip lag, I don't know. But yeah, the game still needs some optimization, but for the most part, it's still very playable and a very fun game, I might add too. So let's go and let's mess with some more settings, see what we can turn up to high before we start to really see some dips. So let's put keep that at low. Terrain, shadows, texture quality. Turn the sky quality up and the ground ground clutter up a little bit. And as you can see, the game's already starting to look a little bit better. Nothing looks all pastel-y anymore. That's nice, except for the far away stuff. And our frame rate's still at the 70s, 80s. So, very nice. And we'll go into the forest, I guess, the dark, scary forest. I should probably stop running because I get tired. I leveled up. Yay. I leveled up from solely just, oh my god, there's a dragonfly. So I found that the most annoying things in this game are those dragonflies. They're very aggressive and they'll just attack me for no reason, and they fly. And they always catch me because I can't get... Okay, so this whole forest has... What is that? Stegosaurus? Oh, dragonfly! Dragonfly! So, yeah, overall we can see we're looking pretty good here. And that's just, guys, how you can kind of make the game favor what you're looking to get out of it. You want the higher frame rates, the higher view distance, or do you want the prettier looking experience? You know, do you want to make sure always find the area that causes your stuff to dip? I don't like how this game is skipping. It might be because I'm running the recorder. But, you know, you want to find the most demanding place in that game that you've noticed makes your frame rate dip a lot. And that's where you want to sit and adjust your settings. And I like to play with VSync because I'm not a fan of screen tearing and frame skipping and stuff like that. And I'm going to go punch this pterodactyl. I punched him. Oh, he's mad at me. Let's see, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Is he going to fight me? I don't think he'll fight me. I'm way too strong for you. But yeah, that's my little look on video game optimization for your settings and your hardware. Come fight me, bro. Anyways, you guys, this is Steven with All Talk On, and I'll catch you guys later.